Surprise!
We're taking the EdUp Experience podcast to Insights EDU. Join us for an incredible higher education marketing and enrollment management conference, February 20th to 22nd in Phoenix, Arizona. Register now at insightsedu.com and use promo code EdUp to save $50 off your registration. Commencement, the beginning of a new era in higher education, is
amazing.
Thousands of copies have been sold across the United States and the world. You can pick up your copy today on Amazon. Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to EdUp on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. I say this every time, or at least I have lately. We're so close to 700 episodes. As actually, by the time you listen to this, we will have surpassed 700 episodes. I have no idea how we have accomplished this, but we have included in that 700 episodes is over 230 with college and university presidents all across the world to give you and bring you some of the most critical insights about higher education today. My brain daily feels like it will be exploding with this great information I get from presidents as we talk about how long they're in the job, how do you stay in the job, what about today's community colleges and how are we doing post-pandemic? How are our private colleges keeping up with enrollment? How are we dealing with enrollment declines? What about academic calendars? There's so much to discuss and so little time, and I can't possibly ask. I mean, I do ask very good, very involved questions. I'm very good at asking great questions. I think most people will agree with my questions, just off the charts amazing. But I have to bring co-hosts with me to ask even better questions. And it's even more meaningful when they've been part of the EdUp experience before. So I have with me today as my guest co-host somebody that I admire very much, and I'll tell you why. Because when I interviewed her the first time, it was like rawness. She just kind of said it like it is. And you know what? She thought something, and she just said it. And I was like, I like her. And then ever since we've stayed in touch, and we finally got her to the microphone. She's brought her own microphone. She's got a headset contraption she's dealing with today. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest co-host. She is Dr. Jackie Elliott, president at Central Arizona College. Jackie, welcome back to the EdUp Experience microphone.
Thank you, Joe. I think your very kind comments basically mean I don't have a filter and I just say whatever pops in my mind.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
This is lunacy.
But you know what? That's what we do here on EdUp. And I liked you so much in the way that you just delivered information. I was like, yeah, I know you're going to ask amazing questions today because
thank you.
You've been doing the job now, what, 7 years?
This is my second presidency, 7 years at this institution, 5 years at my previous institution. So 12 years of craziness.
Holy crap.
Well, you know what? You know what? You survived. Well, that's debatable, isn't it? You're here.
It's debatable.
It's debatable. Well, I'm excited today because we've got a guest with us. I would say a trailblazing guest, and we're going to tell you why. We're going to get her right on the microphone now before I canceled on her, and then she canceled on me, and they're just sometimes those guests that we have to chase, and they chase us, and we finally get them on. Ladies and gentlemen, what an honor. Dr. Mautra Stanley Jones. She is the president of Oklahoma City Community College, OCCC, if you will. Welcome to the microphone. How are you?
You are incredibly kind, Joe, and I just appreciate you, and I appreciate this opportunity. And yes, it took a little bit of time for us to be able to connect, but we are here. And so thank you and President Elliott for this incredible opportunity to get to share and be a guest today.
So a little bit of a background. Once upon a time, I worked in for-profit higher education, and I worked at a college called Heritage College that is no more. I left and they shut their doors probably because they couldn't enroll as many students as when I was there. But anyway, so it was in Oklahoma City, and it was around, it was like an old mall, and I can't remember what it was called. Crossroads Mall.
Crossroads Mall. I'm familiar with Heritage. In fact, I know the college you're talking about. I know some people who actually attended.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yes.
So, but that college, so Heritage College, that location got up almost 1,000 students in Oklahoma City. At that time, it was like the only viable building with people in it around Crossroads Mall.
Yes.
And this is years ago now.
Years ago.
we always intersected with students from OCCC. Either they were coming to Heritage because they went to OCCC and didn't do as well as they wanted, or they didn't want the for-profit college experience and were going back to OCCC. So I'm very familiar with the community college and what you do, but I want you to level set for our audience. Where are you located? Who do you serve? How do you serve them?
Thank you so much. Well, Oklahoma City Community College was founded in 1972. So we're relatively young. We like to say we just celebrated our 50th year anniversary, and we are the Oklahoma's 4th largest institution of higher education, serving over 18,000 students every single year. I always say there's something for everyone at OCCC. So whether you are a high schooler who is looking to take college courses and really prepare yourself, or even a student in our Pathways program, wherein they graduate with their associates, they graduate high school with an associates, or whether you're a professional who has spent a great deal of time, in your career, and you're looking to advance professionally and decide that you want to come back to college. For those who stopped out and decided again that they want to make the journey and finish their degree, OCCC is here with open arms to serve so many. And I'm proud that we have such an amazing, diverse population. We are an emerging Hispanic serving institution. And so we've worked really hard through the years to, meet the needs of all of our students, but certainly a crown jewel for the state of Oklahoma. And our dedicated Board of Regents, faculty, and staff work diligently to ensure that the students we serve have pathways to success, and that we certainly walk alongside them on their journey. So such an honor to be at the helm.
Amazing.
So I'm going to pass it to Jackie in a second, but I do want to get to something that matters. It matters for you, and I think it matters for the state of Oklahoma and for the community college system there. And that is, and I read this Forbes article about you. Someone wrote that you're the first woman and Black president at OCCC. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Then you read below that, and it was the first ever Black woman CEO of any institution in the history of the state. Okay, so being a college president has some pressure that comes with it. But put all that other stuff behind you, and being a first of anything comes with a kind of a different set of pressure and expectations to really blaze a trail. How does this feel? Are you taking this in? Do you feel that pressure? Are you just you, or do you feel a responsibility? Talk to me about what that means.
Joe, I'm simply walking in my purpose. And I believe that when you're walking in your purpose, while those things are to be celebrated, and I'm so excited, and I don't take them lightly, my ultimate goal is to inspire. I've not been a stranger to really talking about my journey and my path, and how education has really been the great equalizer in my life, and certainly open up the door of opportunities in so many areas. And so those milestones and historic gains, yes, I'm proud of them, but I certainly hope that above all, the students I serve and the people that I interface with, that they're inspired by my journey and inspired by my story, and that, if I can achieve something of this magnitude, then certainly they can do that and more.
Epic.
Now, Jackie, I'm going to pass it to you, but I got to set you up right, all right, before you ask a question.
Prepare to be astonished.
Okay, now you can go.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Dr. Jones, what an impressive background. And I would be interested, how long have you been at OCCC?
Going on 18 months.
Okay. Wow. You're still
Yes.
new. Honeymoon. That's
new.
awesome.
I don't feel new. I'm like an old pro at this point.
I
Just 2
understand.
days in the job, and you're like, man, it's been 2 years, right?
Yeah. Wonderful. So I guess my question for you, and I'm particularly interested, even though you weren't there during the pandemic, what are some of the challenges OCCC are facing post-pandemic? And obviously I have selfish reasons to ask this. Not only what are your challenges, but how are you addressing those challenges?
We're still dealing with the same challenges that higher ed is across the country, continuing to really share and demonstrate the value proposition of a higher education, making sure that we pivot and we do everything in our power to serve our very diverse students. We have students who are first generation. We have students who have a lot of challenges and struggles still as a result of the pandemic. And so it's really helping those students not only be inspired and making sure that they have the resources they need and the support. We've seen an increase in the need for our wraparound services, regarding the students that we serve. And so we've had to really step it up as it pertains to, and really be innovative in our approach when it comes to providing services after hours, on weekends, 24/7 tutoring, different things that our student population requires. So we find ourselves really in the same situation that community colleges are facing across the country. And people are still very much impacted in a negative way by the pandemic. And so with our students, with families, they're having to decide, can I continue down this path? Because if I have to choose between feeding my family or, continuing my educational journey, they're going to choose taking care of their family. And so we're really trying to make sure that we make education affordable, attainable. We have not raised tuition in 6 years here at this institution because our Board of Regents felt that it's very important, along with our administration, that we continue to maintain affordability, and we're the state's most cost-effective institution, and we take pride in that. But also we've definitely made services available again after hours on the weekends, because our students are working, a great deal of our students are working, and they have the determination to persevere. And so we make sure that we're being diligent in everything that we offer to them to make their journeys a little bit easier.
Wonderful. Thank you for that answer. I'm curious if you're facing some of the challenges that we are facing, and that is we're learning that our students are choosing online and hybrid. So our foot traffic on our campuses is not necessarily the same as it was before the pandemic. And that has created a unique set of challenges for us as an institution. I'm wondering if that's also true for you.
Absolutely. Interestingly enough, during the pandemic, where institutions saw a decrease in enrollment, OCCC experienced growth exponentially, because we were already in the online space. We were already, that transition that all of us had to make as institutions of higher education, we were already in that space. And so we saw our enrollment grow exponentially. And that was, 2020, 2021, 2022, we started to see kind of some of that, where you have students. And I, of course, when I started, I'm thinking, I want people here. I want students here. Where are our students? Where's this thriving, bustling, campus community that we all know to be OCCC? And so we've really started enhancing our student programming to attract students back to campus, and figuring out different ways that we can make this environment just as open and welcoming for them. We are, in terms of kind of what that mix looks like, our students are preferring a hybrid model, and certainly an online platform. And, our numbers are somewhere in the, we're probably hovering half and half, but last semester we were probably about 60% were online and 40% in person, because that's the trends that we're seeing. And so we're having to really cater to that change, and make sure, again, that we're able to continue to provide just as a high quality education in that manner, even though I want, our students here with us so we can see them.
Jackie, I don't know if you have another question, but I have to give you a reminder here.
This is my show. My show.
But if you want to keep going, you can go.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time. I do. If we're talking about, first of all, how many students do you have? Ish.
We serve over 18,000 a year.
18,000.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching a video about you and your childhood online this morning. And you told this story about being a teacher, why you called out in this video, you called out some of your teachers from the past. And you said in this video, and you just said it here, education is the great equalizer. That meant so much before the public started questioning whether that was the case or not. And the word equalizer started to become very fuzzy in what that means, because I'm a general student consumer, and I understand equalizer to mean, well, I need to get a job, and I can get a job without this college degree. So how is education the great equalizer? When you say it, what does it mean when you say it? Because you say it so concretely.
Absolutely. Because it's my journey. You know, that's been my experience. And I certainly can't speak for others' experience, but for me, when I say it's the great equalizer, for me, as someone who grew up with just some of the harshest circumstances that I certainly won't delve into today, I always say that, you know, if we're looking at someone who, you know, comes from poverty, and we're thinking about the different statistics that, you know, these different, I say there's always these different boxes that, you know, you check off of these, you know, these boxes, single parent, you know, food insecurity, you check off these different boxes. There are about a dozen or more boxes that I can check. So for me, you know, there was a time whenever I was growing up that society says you should not be where you are based on these circumstances, based on the things that you've gone through. Your path in life should probably look very different. So for me, when I say education was truly the great equalizer, education opened up the doors of opportunities. It allowed me to really, you know, first of all, I had, you know, just a strong passion. I always have. I'm a lifelong learner. I love to learn. And so as a way, you know, I excelled in my studies and continue to just build up on that. But those activities, that education, it kept me hopeful. It kept me very optimistic that life could look much different and be better. And I worked hard, you know, just through the years in terms of my educational attainment. And it wasn't easy, but I do think that my circumstances and the things that I went through really helped lay the foundation for the work that I would, you know, that what will become my life's work. And so I look at this as not only a passion, but a mission and a calling. It brings me fulfillment to be able to walk alongside so many students whose background mirrors mine, whose experiences mirror mine, because I believe that I can have a degree of understanding and sincerity that says, no, I truly am invested in your education, and I want to make sure that you have what you need to be successful, because I've been, you know, through some of the things you've gone through. I've experienced those things. And so when I say, you know, education's, you know, the great equalizer, for me, it has really opened up doors and allowed me to dream big dreams and accomplish things that, again, when I was growing up, maybe society didn't think that, you know, I was able to do those types of things based on the circumstances and the things that I went through and experienced.
Tell them like it is.
I like what you're saying, because I worry that because of the narrative around higher ed, you don't need to go higher ed. You don't need to get a 4-year degree. You just go get a job or stack all these skills, which I'm all about skill stacking. Long term, what happens, right? The word equalizer is even. It means even, right? It means evening out the playing field, so that if you're going for generational wealth, or you're building wealth over time for you, yourself, and your family, that a college degree in education gives you the best chance for longevity. You might get a job now, but what happens when there's elasticity in the job market, which there always is. We just don't know what's going to happen yet. And AI, I feel like AI just prevented it from happening again. You know, it just kind of delayed the elasticity in the job market, but it's coming. And if you've been out, for the last 5-10 years, if you decide not to go get a degree and you're working, you lose that job, how much further behind does that put you in the long term? And I know you deal with this too, Jackie. This is a critical issue for all of us, is because we're competing against someone saying higher ed doesn't have value. It's hard to compete against that.
If I may, I would like to share a little bit and then think about that. I think it's about our narrative and our story, especially at community colleges. And trust me, there's a question in here, but we never say the subtext or the subtitle. So it's really, it's called, you know, cul-de-sac bragging rights. My son or daughter is going to go to ASU and study journalism, versus my son's going to go to Central Arizona College, do welding, and the difference there, the subtext on the ASU, my daughter who's going to go to ASU and study journalism, graduate over $100,000 in debt and be lucky to get a job making $36,000 a year, versus the subtext for my son's going to CAC to to learn welding. He can go essentially for free on our Promise program, graduate debt-free, and get a good job, making upwards of $50,000 a year. And so we don't always talk about the end in mind. We think about the framework of higher education. So my question is a little off topic, Dr. Jones, but when we think about equalizing and shortening time to degree, and the higher ed landscape is now switching to micro-credentials, shorter time degrees, how does that maybe fit into our value proposition?
Yeah, we have industry approach us regularly, and something I'm very proud of to say, I had one financial institution approach me and say, we are really interested in determining how we can move middle management and really actually move employees internally, into that kind of middle upper management. And we want to do it organically, but we want to do it in a way that doesn't take 4 years, 8 years. And so we were able to provide them, with the framework and say, okay, well, we have these classes in technology and finance and accounting that your employees can take. And in doing so, they're able to get those skills that are necessary to advance. And so we're seeing a lot of growth in that space, wherein we had to do the same thing for one of our partners, Prairie Surf Media, who's bringing, Hollywood on the prairie, we like to say, where they wanted a grits course so that the big production companies that were coming to Oklahoma had talent that they could hire here locally to work on their productions. And we were able to turn a course around for them, that was literally in a matter of weeks. And so there has to be that flexibility and that ability to be nimble in our space to meet that demand. We are the largest provider of micro-credentials in the state. I'm very proud of that because our faculty and staff have worked incredibly hard to reach that particular milestone. And we granted over 12,000 micro-credentials.
It's fantastic.
This just within this last year. And so when I tell you that you have to be willing to meet the needs of industry, because we know they're ever evolving and ever changing. And sometimes that's much quicker. And I believe I don't see that trend going away anytime soon. We certainly have a lot of demand for it here. And I would assume that that's your plight and others in the community college space as well.
Attention.
Are you ready to elevate your institution's marketing and enrollment strategies? Join the EdUp Experience podcast at the Insights EDU conference, February 20th to 22nd in Phoenix, Arizona. Don't miss out on this opportunity to hear from engaging speakers from industry-leading companies like Google, LinkedIn, Adobe, and higher ed leaders. Learn the latest marketing and enrollment strategies to grow your programs. Register now at insightsedu.com and use promo code EdUp to save $50 off your registration.
Attention. Oh, yeah.
Join the movement to mobilize and revolutionize higher education by picking up your copy of Commencement, the Beginning of a New Era in Higher Education today. This book has been featured in Forbes, NPR, Harvard Business Review, CEO World Magazine, NBC News, CBS News, and Business Insider, among many others. Don't miss out on what today's highest college leaders have to say about the future of higher education. Pick up your copy on Amazon. It makes for an interesting addition to the business. Not that you weren't doing it before. I'm assuming a lot of those micro-credentials might be non-credit. So some non-credit micro-credentials. Students still want for credit. I'll be honest, at least in my experience, they'll take non-credit courses, then they'll ask, well, what if I decide to transfer this later? Will it transfer? So I think there's still that in mind. Point being, though, if your completers are coming out with a lot of micro-credentials, it forces us in higher ed to be much more conscious about long-term customer loyalty, right? Because when that student thinks about going back to get their degree, they've already had an experience at OCCC. I can't let them forget about that positive experience. Even if they move a little bit away, I want them to remember that experience at OCCC. So if they decide to come back and get a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, OCCC is the first one on their mind. That's a part of the business that higher ed is not good at. We're not. And I say that, compare us to hotels. You know, I'm a Marriott lifetime. I've said this on the podcast before. I'm a lifetime Marriott guy because I traveled forever when I worked in the for-profit sector. I only stay at Marriott's. It's just when I think about a hotel, I think Marriott. We need to go, when you think degree in the area of OCCC, you think OCCC. And it's this part of the business that we're still getting good at. How do you think about that at OCCC, and how do you go about it?
Oh, we have to. I mean, you know, you have to be in the space, as President Elliott mentioned and alluded to before, of rethinking financial models. I mean, the challenges that are being presented by rising tuition, fees, and student debt, they're really pushing innovation, pushing institutions to be innovative. And
Nailed it.
we're seeing an emergence of, you know, new financial models, you know, new scholarship opportunities, and we're really having to do a lot of work in that space to make sure that higher education is also more accessible, you know, to a broader spectrum of students. So I don't, trying to keep up is, you know, I would say one of the things that you look at as an opportunity, but it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of dedication. And President Elliott, you said that, you know, that you've been in this space for a while. You know, yes, I'm 18 months in and it seems like it's been forever, because you are always trying to keep up, you know, figure out what, you know, there's so many trends that are coming down and things that we have to prepare for. And so innovation has to be one of those, you know, skill sets that any president has, just, you know, one of those intangibles where you say, okay, we've got to keep the pace, you know, keep up with, you know, with the world and with the pace of how everything is just changing and ever evolving, I like to say. So it is definitely top of mind, Joe, and something that will remain top of mind, because I feel like, you know, when we're able to be innovative and certainly provide pathways in the financing to back that, I think we're going to set more students, you know, on a path to be able to pay for their education, because this generation, they're not having it. You know, they will research things. They will come back and say, I'm not doing this because of this, you know, particular reason. I mean, they have their act together when it comes to really knowing what they want to do in terms of, I don't want to be in a lot of debt. You know, that is out there. We hear that all the time from students when we're out, you know, having engagements and asking them, what is the number one reason stopping you from coming to college? And it's, I don't want the debt.
Jackie.
I'm listening. And so as I'm thinking, you're so spot on, President Jones, on how the rate of change is almost exhausting and mind-boggling. And I think you can't do it alone as a president, right? You need a team that can help respond to the ever-changing AI, virtual reality. How do you use virtual reality in the classroom? So my biggest question in this, how do you get faculty to embrace and move quickly and forward with the trends to keep this generation interested? Obviously, they don't want to listen to a lecture. They want to come and have hands-on technology infused learning experiences. So
did someone say AI?
Do I look like I know what a JPEG is?
I was waiting until somebody brought that up.
You know, it takes a lot of listening. It takes a lot of being in front of our leadership and our faculty and staff and having those conversations. I'm a big proponent in professional development. I know that some institutions say, well, you know, we're trying to, you know, everybody's cutting back, but I want people to continue to develop and grow and learn. I don't think anyone's at a place in life that they've arrived, that they're, you know, they're just, they've made it. I think we will continue to learn or should be continuing to learn throughout this journey. And so one of the things that I feel that I like to do is make sure that our faculty and staff are engaged and that they're participating in professional development opportunities, that they're engaging with their peers across the country. And so anytime we have opportunities for collaboration, I'm certainly encouraging that, because I think one of the trends that we're going to see, and I'm sure you're seeing it, President Elliott, is that, you know, we have to be in this space of just collaboration, and not only within our institution, but with, you know, across different institutions, and figure out how we can continue to provide what we're providing for our citizens together. And when there's power in collaboration. And so we're seeing that. But no, I think that continue to listen to faculty, being responsive. We are fortunate that I've been able to interface and work with a great leadership team, because it does, if you don't have the leadership and the troops that are right beside you walking it out, you won't be successful as an institution, and certainly not in this role as a president. And so I've been fortunate to be able to work very closely with leadership to talk about how do we stay current? How do we keep it? And we know we can't do it all and be everything to everybody. So what I've encouraged our faculty and staff and deans is we need to really strengthen what we're great at. And we need to, those programs that we're seeing a great deal of interest, we need to focus our efforts on how we strengthen those, how we continue to ensure success in those programs versus trying to be everything to everybody, because that's impossible. And you know that with limited, funds and things, and even just manpower, you have to be very strategic in what you do and how you do it.
Mautra, you guys, this discussion's so good because you said it before. There's so many things that you have to keep your eye on. And I was just thinking that higher ed, if you took higher ed off our business and you called it something else, and we sold widgets or something else, typically you do have like an R&D team or a strategy team who their sole purpose is to not get involved in the business and to look at strategic foresight in the future on how the business evolves. In higher ed, because of funding, because of staffing, like how do you hire somebody in higher ed and go, your job is to not get involved with students? It goes against everything that we are. So then what happens as a president, where you're the person who's in charge of strategic foresight, you got to be at the front end of everything, but the business is designed to suck you back in. It doesn't give you any time to think. And then I'm thinking about, while you guys were talking, I was personalizing this for myself going, oh yeah, when I get home and my kids go to sleep and my wife gets on her phone and I get on my phone and we're just chilling, I'm like, oh, what am I doing? I'm looking at everything that's coming. I'm working still because that's the only time I have to think. It would be really great if we had an arm of our business that looked at everything, but it's really hard to balance those priorities, isn't it?
It's a challenge, and President Elliott will tell you, because in this seat, you have to be everything to everybody. You have so many constituent groups that are relying on you for leadership, for guidance, for information. My governance, our board of regents, there's 7. So I have 7 bosses. We have the faculty, our staff, our donors, our students, our alumni, our retirees, our community leaders, our community-based organizations, you name it, industry partners. We're dealing with so many different constituent groups, and you have to, be everything to everyone. But what I will say is, what we've tried to do and what I really firmly believe in is, we have to do it as a team. And so while I get to set the vision and I get to, say, hey, this is what we're going to work toward. It's every one of our, I tell the team, we're in this together, and it is all of our duties and roles to walk out fulfilling our mission of student success and community enrichment. I may be, yes, I'm the president, but you all are here to walk alongside me. And so anytime there are opportunities for us to divide and conquer, I encourage them to go and take speaking engagements or roles. I encourage them to go and share their story. And I'm a firm believer in bringing the people, when we have certain meetings where there's curiosity about some of the work we're doing, I'm bringing the content experts with me. And I'm going to say, you all are going to be able to share, because you can talk passionately and best about what it is you do every single day. But I will say this, when you get to spend time with the students, it makes it all worth it. When you see the family. So we welcomed our students back last week.
Oh,
and I was so excited to, drive up to campus, and you just see cars everywhere. And I'm like, yes, this is great. To President Elliott's point with, having students wanting that hybrid or more so those online options. And I was so excited to just see life and just all this activity. And that's what it's about, to see.
No more tumbleweeds blowing through the parking lots. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
To see the students here with their families, and just the eager and excitement in their eyes as they're trying to find their classes. And, one of the things we do here at OCCC is our various units will come together and we will greet students, walk them to class. And that's always just a fun way to connect and just really be reminded, that the work we're doing, it makes a difference. It's impacting lives. These students are here and they are working incredibly hard because they want to be successful and they want to make sure that whatever their option is post OCCC, that they're going to be able to go and be not only productive citizens, but provide for their families.
Now, Jackie, I should kick it over to you, but I am going to put you back on the other side of the microphone for just a moment because I put a LinkedIn poll up about this question, and it's probably one of the most confusing questions in all of higher education. So I said, every time I interview a president now, I'm going to take a straw poll. Ladies and gentlemen, here is your quiz question of the day.
Attention.
There's a word, it could be pronounced pedagogy or pedagogy, depending on where you're from. And the extension would be pedagogical or pedagogical. So over to you, Jackie Elliott, first. What do you say? Pedagogical or pedagogical?
Pedagogical.
Pedagogical. Oh, wow. This is what, see, now the last two presidents I talked to were both gogicals, and you're a gogical.
I'm a gogical.
So it's pedagogy and pedagogical.
Mm-hmm.
You sure? You're locking in your answer?
I'm going to lock in my answer.
All right. All right. Dr. Jones, what do you say?
We say pedagogy. Pedagogical.
Pedagogy and pedagogical? Ladies and gentlemen, this will continue to be the most difficult questions in all of higher education. I still stand by my, this is a made-up word. Yes, all words are made up, but we're not sure there's any definition of pedagogy or pedagogical. We'll continue to ask presidents on this broadcast of the EdUp Experience until we get a definitive answer on how the heck you pronounce that word.
Attention.
All right, back to our regularly scheduled program here, Dr. Jones. I always like an aside because they're just confusing parts of higher education for us internally and then for students to navigate. Like, what's a bursar? And if a student says, I'm going to the bursar, what does that actually mean? Is it a director of student accounts? We have PLA. So I heard somebody recently go, we're going to PLA you, to a student who went, what the heck is that? We're going to PLA you. Talk about credit transfer, PLA for adult students. Is that something that's on your radar? Because I know at community colleges, you're serving students from a high school student coming out of high school to somebody who's 80, 90 years old, even at times, coming back to get an extended degree. So is PLA and transfer credit something you're dealing with on a daily basis?
We have to. We have to deal with it daily. I mean, one of the things that I will tell you is part of when we are out visiting and recruiting students, they ask, well, if I do start my career at OCCC, for those who are interested, how is this transferable? We have engaged. We have an exceptional team that builds those micro-credentials, and our academic affairs unit, they are on top of it when it comes to partnering with our four-year institutions across the state. I mean, we even have partnerships. There are a few that are across the country and even on the international space, but making sure that they have those pathways and that their credits are transferable. So the time they spend here at OCCC has not been wasted, but we'll just continue to help them build their academic careers. And what I'm proud of is we work, diligently to make sure that not only is that transition smooth, but our students, they compete with those who entered, when our transfer students compete. They're on par is what we're finding with our R1 institutions and our land grant institutions. They're on par with the students that started, at those institutions. They go in and they compete and they maintain their GPAs. President Elliott, I don't know if you find that to be the case with your students as well, but we're very proud of that, because what that says is we are providing a high quality education, and that our students can go anywhere and they can make it, they can be successful because we've laid that firm foundation.
Jackie, back over to you.
So I want to ask you a question, and these are always the hard questions. Where do you see the institution pedagogically in 5 years?
It's just continuing to, one of the things that I feel like we're having to do is we're going to have to continue. I'm not going to say reinventing ourselves, but we're going to have to continue building out those areas that are strengths for us, building out the units that not only have the highest interest, but our students are able to leave here and again, go out and find success. I believe that one of the things we're going to have to focus on, and we've kind of started, is making sure that our teaching and instruction continues to partner with industry and that they're attentive. I think that's really, that they're attentive to industry, because
Nailed it.
one of the things that I have encouraged in every one of our divisions, we have advisory committees and we have advisory boards, and they are staffed with our industry partners, and they're telling us what's coming down the pike. They're telling us, what we need to embrace for or prepare for. And we work too with our chambers, because I think one of the things that people take for granted and is that community colleges are huge, large contributors to workforce. We are right there. And that's one thing that's unparalleled. People can't, the 4 years can't touch how much we contribute to workforce. And so I think that we're going to continue to see those partnerships evolve, but also the manner in which we provide our classes and our instruction, that's going to continue to evolve. I don't think online and hybrid is going away. I think we're going to have to make sure that we're prepared to continue to build out those programs, but it's going to have to be innovatively, in a way that captures our students' attentions, but in a way that meets industry's demands.
I love that. I love what you've had to say. Jackie, do you have any burning questions you want to get in here before I give her the final two to close out the episode?
No, not really. I'm interested to see what the final two sound like, and hear what Dr. Jones has to say. Always very interesting.
Well, the first one is more of an open, and that is, what else needs to be said about OCCC? What's going on? Is there anything we need to know?
Yeah.
Anything coming up? Anywhere you're going that you want to plug? Plug the college, plug your work. What's going on?
We are thrilled here at the college to really just be, we always say it's an exciting time to be at OCCC. It's an exciting time to be in higher ed, despite what, some people will try to say. And what I will tell you is OCCC is on the move. We are recognized as a national center of academic excellence in cyber defense. So our faculty are involved with contributing to national security by, fostering expertise in that space. We know that that's growing. So we're thrilled about that. Our nursing program, we're the largest single site graduate, we graduate the most nurses, registered nurses in Oklahoma from OCCC, the largest single site. Our nursing graduates go on to pass the NCLEX. I think our percentages, last I checked, it's certainly in the mid 90s. 90%, 93%, I believe, is our latest pass rate on that. So it certainly is reflective of the quality education that we're providing in that space. And we're seeing, healthcare is not going to slow down. Our film school is one of the top. Movie Maker magazine recognized our digital cinema program as one of the top 25 in the nation, and in the US and Canada. And so we've received that designation this summer, and we're certainly proud of the work that we're doing in that space. And again, when I talk about those micro credentials and being the largest provider for the state, but then also granting over 12,000, that's something that I'm really proud of, because it just shows that our faculty and staff, they show up every day, they're committed, they want to make sure that our students have success, they want to make sure that our students are, able to go out and really accomplish anything it is that they choose to accomplish. And I think that one of the things that I will also say is that we are focused on contributing, positively to society. And I want people to understand that about community colleges. One of the things that I think sets us apart is not only the affordability, but it's the flexibility. People can come to community colleges and they can, figure out what it is they want to do. They, at a cost that's not outrageous. They can take a few classes and kind of determine what they want to do. We provide a community of support at community colleges. We know your names here. If you're not in class, professors are going to be calling, checking to say, where is this person? We do those follow-ups. There's so much to gain in the community colleges. We have financial resources, a great deal of scholarships. There are a lot of programs that our state has incentivized us to provide for our students. So for instance, students who are in the greater Oklahoma City, public schools, if they're, that they can come to OCCC and get their first couple of years at no cost through OKC Go. So there are so many different programs we have to ensure that our students in the state of Oklahoma are set up for success. And our goal is just to continue to be that beacon of hope and light. And we always say, we want to set our students up for success in this life, so they can find everything they need at OCCC.
OCCC is on the move.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
What else?
I love these. These are so much fun.
I have so many more too.
I don't know that I've done an interview where these have been, a part of it, but it's made this time just go by so fast. How fun.
Bullseye.
Well said. You talked about it a little bit, but what else, if anything, do you see for the future of higher education?
We're going to have to continue to rethink financial models. That's going to be important. We have to continue sharing. I think hybrid. I don't think that that's going away. We're going to have to make sure that our hybrid learning model, so combining online with our face-to-face, that's not going away. With the rapid pace of technological and societal changes, I think that lifelong learning, we have to really emphasize, the shift is going to be from one-time degrees to continuous learning and upskilling. That's certainly not going to go away. So I think the micro-credential space and certificates, that's going to continue growing. I talked about collaborative global partnerships. Institutions are going to have to really increasingly collaborate on a global scale. We're going to have to offer students a broader perspective, certainly diverse learning opportunities, and make sure that we are nimble, that we maintain that flexibility and that nimble nature so that we can adjust. Like President Elliott said, it's exhausting. We do it because our heart is in it and we want to do this work and we want to walk it out with our students. But when you think about all the things that you have to be prepared to do and continue to do and think about that foresight, it can be a little overwhelming. But I will say that I see us continuing to contribute positively to the broader societal context. So our institution is going to not necessarily, our impact is not limited to the confines of our campus. So we produce graduates who are equipped to make meaningful contributions to society, and we're going to continue doing that. That's the beautiful thing about a community college is you can be successful. And you can come from any walk of life, and we will welcome you with open arms.
100%.
I know that's a guarantee from these two amazing women that I have with me. Dr. Jackie Elliott, how have you felt about your first EdUp co-hosting gig here?
It was fun not being in the hot seat.
Now you get to let it all go. You get to
I just get to ask questions, and I don't have to worry about sounding articulate when I answer.
Well, even when I play this one,
this is my show. My show.
I mean, you did that one pretty well.
Hey, I held off really good because I could have taken over, but I was trying to be respectful, Joe.
Oh, don't please. Next time you just take over.
Trying to be respectful.
Yeah, next time you just take that microphone and you run with it. That's why we have this. That's why we do this.
I'm ready for my co-host opportunity.
We'll talk.
President Elliott has both of you all have me inspired. I'm like, okay, let's get this show on the road. When co-host?
That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host today, your co-host. She is Dr. Jackie Elliott. She is president at Central Arizona College, and she crushed it. Jackie, thanks for being here. You're amazing. I have great respect for you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anytime, Joe.
My guest today, ladies and gentlemen, your guest today. Here she is. She is Dr. Mautra. Oh my gosh, Staley Jones.
Staley.
I knew it was Staley. This is why the EdUp experience is the way it is, because I can mess up names and we still make you happy. Mautra Staley Jones, president of Oklahoma City Community College. thank you for being here. What did you think of the EdUp Experience podcast in this whole thing?
That's amazing. I'm so happy to get to share about the incredible work going on at Oklahoma City Community College. It's exciting that you had a connection to Oklahoma, and so you're very much familiar with the work that we've done over the past 50 years, and certainly to be in the same space with my colleague, President Elliott. It was just great to get to talk about OCCC, and then of course hear about her institution as well, and know that the challenges that we're facing, we're in this together, and that we will continue to prevail and be successful and be there for our students.
That's amazing. Well, since I messed up your name on the outro, I'm gonna give you a gift, but I'm gonna ask you to stay on with me after this episode, and I'm gonna show you what kind of gift I'm gonna give you. We'll see if you want to take it or not. All right?
Absolutely.
So if you decide to say yes, down the road, everybody will know what I'm talking about after they listen to this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just EdUp'd.
Oh, yeah.
Attention higher ed marketing and enrollment management professionals. We are taking the EdUp Experience podcast to Insights EDU. Join us at Insights EDU on February 20th to 22nd, 2024 in Phoenix, Arizona. Gain insight into the latest higher education trends and cutting-edge marketing strategies that'll take your institution's enrollment to a whole new level. This is your opportunity to connect with higher education leaders and marketing experts from across the country. Comprehensive presentations, engaging panel discussions, and more. Insights EDU will equip you to position your institution for growth. Register now at insightsedu.com and use the code EdUp to save $50 off your registration. Can you afford to miss this conference?
I don't think so.
Attention.
Forbes called commencement the beginning of a new era in higher education, a dispensable touch point for what's being said in, about, and around higher education now. Don't miss the insights from 125 college and university presidents about what the future of higher education holds. Pick up your copy of Commencement on Amazon today.